Hello, good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I am doing excellent. Well, first of all, congratulations, man. That is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm pumped.
Are you in any pain still?
So much pain. Yes.
Are you really?
Very uncomfortable. Oh yeah, I feel every single one of those miles.
Hey, Katie, was it, I guess now that you've had a little bit of time to kind of digest everything, was it what you thought it would be?
It was so much more magical. It was a beautiful swim. The sunrise over the bay was absolutely gorgeous. There were Marylanders out on the shore with signs, and boaters came out and said hi in the early mornings. And then as we got closer and closer to Baltimore, there were more people out on the shores, more people out on the water. And then finishing into Harbor Place with, hundreds of people lining the shore was just the most magical experience I've ever had.
I was going to ask you that later, but I'll do that now. Were you surprised at the turnout of people? Because obviously, we're just seeing it on TV and kind of following along online and seeing, kind of tracking you and seeing where it was. Mm-hmm. But when you kind of got into the harbor, the amount of people that were there, screaming and cheering and stuff. And I mean this with no disrespect. I didn't expect the turnout to be like that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hoped there would be people. I was inviting people to the finish, and I obviously was hoping that I would also be at the finish. Luckily, I got there. But yeah, Baltimore showed up. I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, there were several tears of absolute joy and pride for my city, and it's just unbelievable.
Hey, so Katie, let me ask you this: you're going to swim, you're going to start it in the bay, and you're obviously going to make it into Baltimore in the harbor. What time did you start? I know it was 3 something, but what time did you get going?
Yeah, so it took a little longer for us to leave the marina, which just happens, one of those things. So my official start time was 3:19 in the morning.
Is it hard to start? You know what I mean? It's the middle of the night. It's pitch black. You're out in the middle of the bay, and at some point you got to go okay, I guess I'll get in the water now. To me, it seems like starting would be the hardest part.
I definitely wouldn't put it at the hardest part, but I was way more nervous than I have been for other swims. It's been a while since I was quite that nervous. But my crew was really supportive. My husband was amazing, and the boat, Freedom Boat Club, that provided support. They got me into shore as close as they could. So I just kind of slipped off the back of the boat, which was about 2.5 feet of water, so I was pretty close. And swam into the shore, touched the jetty, the rock jetty there, right next to the Bay Bridge, and took 30 seconds to kind of gather myself, and then went off. So I honestly, once I got in the water, I felt a lot more relaxed.
How long does it take to, not the 30 seconds of now I'm in the water and oh, okay, this is comfortable, I swim, but what is how long does it take to get into, because you knew you were going to be swimming for a while. How long does it take to get into a groove, though, where it's okay, now I'm going?
Yeah, a lot longer this time than I think maybe some other swims. The several hours of darkness in the morning, I feel like I would find a rhythm for a minute, and then I'd lose it. It was really hard to see, but my support, they did a great job wearing glow sticks, and my kayaker had a headlamp on, which was great. But every time it would move, every time my brother Chris, he was the first kayaker, every time he would turn his head, it kind of made a shadow in the water, which when you're swimming at 3 a.m. In black, darkness, that definitely made my imagination go pretty wild. So I had a hard time relaxing. So it wasn't, I eventually found a rhythm. I swallowed a lot of bay water in that darkness.
Well, you know what the good news is? It's all so clean. It's all clean, so you're good to go. Hey,
I'm feeling all right on that front.
does your mind wander at all while you're going, or is it do you always hear people who go I have a runner's high, And now, I mean, obviously, listen, you've done marathon swims before, whether it's the English Channel or around Manhattan or whatever it is. But does your mind, as you're kind of going, does your mind wander at all?
Yeah, definitely. And that was actually, by the time the sunrise came up, I was feeling a lot more like in a rhythm. And the colors were just amazing. I asked my niece, Naev, to write down a few colors for me. I was kind of brainstorming a giant painting I'm working on. So that was really nice in the morning. Later the swim, especially when it got a lot tougher and the current was against me into the Patapsco, I feel like my mind kind of goes a little more blank, and I'm just like uber focused on what I'm doing. And my support swimmers that got in, Megan and Sarah, they were amazing. So especially towards the end, Megan was the last support swimmer in, maybe like a mile and a half from the finish. And we were just like locked in rhythm, almost making eye contact the whole time. And for that, I was just like so focused on what she was doing and not having any thoughts. So that was great.
So there were times where there were helicopters flying overhead and tracking you and I mean, the news coverage and everything. There are times that I would like see you and you were swimming and I was like, well, first of all, how freaking long has she been doing this? But it's just, it's one arm and then the other arm and then one arm and the other arm. But it looked like you were in the middle of nowhere. Like you look like a dot in the water just swimming. And I look at it and I go like, I know where she's going and you can track it and see where she's going. But oh my God, did it seem like you were lost in the middle of nowhere?
Yes. Especially like the stretch from the Key Bridge into Fort McHenry. That was the kind of roughest water. The wind was picked up a little bit and the current was kind of the strongest against me. And I really try not to look forward because it can be so deceiving and like heartbreaking to not see, to like, you're seeing land, but it is not getting any closer. And so I kept popping my head up and asking my crew, like, I'm moving, right? We're getting somewhere. And Joe, my husband, was like, yes, we're absolutely moving. You're crushing it. Keep going. And I was like, I don't know about that, but we'll see.
I just like that you've got 45 like other swimmers, 45 like support people, and poor you're doing the whole thing all by yourself.
They were wonderful though. They were cheering, making jokes, a lot of hand signals and fun. My husband was dancing a lot. I think they did such a great job, kayaking and cheering and keeping my spirits high, and they were just absolutely wonderful.
Hey, Katie, when we talked a couple of weeks ago, we talked about what it was going to be like to go swimming by the Key Bridge.
Yeah. How
was it?
It was pretty powerful. It was pretty intense. Kind of leading up to it, that was kind of another spot that the Key Bridge, like all of what you can see, is so much higher in the water. So it really looks like it's not getting any closer. And so by the time I finally got there, now it's just also a moment I've been thinking about for decades. And then obviously it's a little, a lot different than what I envisioned. And so I always swim backstroke under bridges. I think a lot of water swimmers do. It's just really cool to kind of look up and see spans. And we did swim under a remaining part of a span, right at kind of the last one. So I swam backstroke. I'm looking up, and I see what's left of the bridge over my head, and then to my left was just open. And as the sun kind of disappeared behind the span, I was in its shadow. Like I just was sobbing, and that caught me off guard. I knew I'd get emotional, but I was really crying. I was swimming backstroke while crying is definitely challenging. But then the sun kind of, creeped back out and I turned back over and kept going to Baltimore. So it was pretty awesome, pretty powerful.
Hey, Katie, were you surprised at the amount of, not press from around here, right? But were you surprised at the international press that started covering it?
Yeah, I definitely was hoping that this, would go far and really show how awesome Baltimore is, and champion women and girls in sports and, this weird sport of marathon swimming. But yeah, it's been amazing. I've gotten messages from swimmers all over the world, and the press that's been out, and the number of stories that are out there is just beyond what I would have ever dreamt and expected. It's definitely a weird sport to follow. You're following a dot, and I'm sure, for people following along, like that's an interesting way to follow a sport for such a long time. But I'm absolutely blown away and truly just like honored with this sport.
Hey, and this may be a bad question, but like how long? I like you said, you got in at 3:19. What was the official time of the end?
It was. That's a good question. I actually don't remember. But it's 13 hours 54 minutes. So whatever that, right before 5, I guess.
13. Jesus Christ, that is. I mean, it's unbelievable to think that you were swimming that long. Hey, did you have to like pee at all while you were swimming?
Oh, absolutely.
There you go.
I peed like clockwork. Yeah, roughly. I pretty much pee every half hour, so that's a big way to make sure that you're hydrated. So I also had to, I was reporting that to my entire crew. So every time I peed, I'd be like, I'm peeing right now. So we'd make a lot of jokes about. My friend Stephanie was like, we're making eye contact while you're peeing. This is a bonding moment.
If I do my math right, you peed 24 times in the middle of your trip.
I hope I did. Yeah. It was my crew. They were really, the water was hot. It was the hottest I've ever felt on a swim. And that was definitely one of the big challenges. So, they did a great job making sure I was drinking enough water, and, I had electrolytes, and, dehydration is no joke, and I don't want to mess with that. And I've been drinking Pedialyte ever since. So, definitely, if you struggle to pee, that's like a sign that your kidneys are starting to have issues. So, I definitely peed a lot, which was great.
Hey, when you were done and you got home, and I'm sure you were, like you said, you're still sore this morning and could feel it. But like when you're done, like, do you just get to, like, you could crush food, whatever you want?
Yeah, well, it's kind of, your body's like, what just happened? So, I struggled. I had struggled to stand a lot more than I have. I think that was in large part due to the heat. So I did, maybe a couple hours later, I ate something. I crushed an Ecubin sandwich, which was great because they were handing them out at the finish, and I was really looking forward to it. So I had a big bottle of Pedialyte and a neighborhood bird sandwich from Ecubin. It was awesome.
Good for you. Good for you. So now that you're done with Bay to Baltimore, the Bay to Baltimore swim, do you look at that and go, okay, I'm good for a while? Or because, like you said, that's your sport. You're an ultramarathon. And I know you're an artist, and like you said, you're working on a new project and all of that. But, do you do something like that and go, you know what? I'm good for a while. Like, this one was more than just, hey, I want to go see if I could swim the English Channel. Like, this one meant so much more to you than that one, than those did. Are you good for a while, or does this kind of energize you to go, all right, what can I do next?
Well, I think I'm definitely going to lean into the energy I feel. A lot of swimmers have also reached out about, hey, I want to attempt this next year. So I'm starting to put some things together to how I could help swimmers do the Bay to Baltimore swim. For me, I'm headed to California in just 4 weeks to swim the Catalina Channel. So this is the closest I've ever had two swims together. And Catalina I did in 2018, so I'm very excited to revisit it, but very interested to see how recovery and resting for that goes, because right now I can't lift my arms.
By the way, I love the idea, though, that if this turns into, like you said, like other swimmers, are reaching out, if this turns into like Katie Pumphrey's annual event, dude, that would be awesome. Right?
Yeah. I think, open water swimming is coming to Baltimore more and more. So this is the beginning of a lovely thing.
That's great. Good for you. Katie, I was so happy. And I know we only talked once before you did it, but I followed along. I was so happy. I was so proud of you, but I was so happy for you to be able to have gotten that done. I know what it meant to you. So that's awesome. Good for you.
Thank you so much. I'm blown away with all of it. This has been a wonderful and wild week. Just unbelievable.
And to anybody that's going to be out like this weekend in the Bay, just remember, Katie peed like crazy in that water.
I did. Yes.
All right, Katie. Hey, listen, I appreciate it. Congratulations again. Good for you.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful to talk to you.